Welcome, everyone, to Monday Meditation, the Joy of Sitting Hour. Tonight, we have quite a lineup of things to talk about, but most importantly, this time is for you. Time that you want to take a moment to reflect on this amazing human condition that we all experience in so many different facets, all in one day or over time. And as we get started, I'll wave to some of the folks who show up before our meditations and then later on after the meditations. And if you would, please, in the comment area, please put down where you are in this world. I'm in California, in Northern California, and I would love to know where you are tonight as you participate in this 1 hour experience. In this hour, there will be 3 talks, mostly focused on mindfulness, you'll see as we get into it, and also relevant to meditation practice because contemplation and meditation practices really serve one another. It's like, we need 2 hands if we have them in order to wash our hands. One hand washes the other. And with contemplation, it puts our mind and our heart in a certain place. And then with meditation, we kind of deepen that a bit. And so just taking a moment right now to wave to Steffi Black 99. Great to see you here, Steffi, I have watched some of your reels in which you do Qigong and different things. And it's really good to see you here tonight. So I'm really excited about things we're going to talk about tonight, but most importantly, I'm happy to spend this time with you. My life is a life of service, and I am really dedicated to helping people to continue to grow and to achieve their goals and milestones. And also, at the heart of it is the joy of this amazing human experience that we're all enjoying, or hopefully enjoying, experiencing on so many different levels. Sometimes we don't experience it as pleasurable, sometimes it's unpleasant, but then something pleasurable happens and maybe we take another look at it. So once again, if you feel comfortable saying if you're in the US, maybe what state you're in or country, or if not, that's fine too. Whatever reflects the privacy that you want, which is, of course, I honor and respect. So tonight, we're going to start off talking about sensors and senses, and there's a little difference between the two. And then following that, we will do our spaciousness meditation. And in this meditation, we'll see if we can find space for ourselves and also space for others. Afterward, we'll talk a little bit about stress and how some stresses are really good because they help to motivate us to achieve our goals and milestones and keep both wheels on the tracks and all of that. And some stress, it can be very destructive because we judge ourselves in referencing whatever ideation we have of who we think we should be or how we should be. But if you're always on the short end of that, meaning that you feel not good enough, then maybe you want to look at it and see what that's about. And sometimes having a coach to help you through that can be extremely helpful. And if you're on a path of excellence, including personal growth and all of that, that's its own kind of stress, which can be very motivating. And at the same time, at times we need to take a breath and remember to breathe and all of that. So after we talk about stress and how to focus our energy and that kind of thing, then we're going to do a meditation that involves it's a heart-centering meditation. And on the front end of that, we do some work with releasing stress and tension and all of that. So then after that, we'll take a look at processing our emotions and also gripping them, and what that's about, and how it helps us to establish our identity and reinforcing who we think we are and all of that. And in some ways, that's really good. And in other ways, it can be very self-limiting. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And then afterward, we'll do a relatively short meditation for processing unpleasant emotions. So tonight, in everything that we do, it has been influenced really by my lifetime study of loving kindness and how to integrate this amazing practice so that our life gets better and better, no matter what our circumstances may be. Earlier today, I needed to go into the Department of Motor Vehicles to renew my license. And for those of you that have been through this process before, you know that it can take a while. You can sit there for a while. And one of the things that happened for me while I was sitting there is I remembered, well, what would happen if I just, even eyes open, meditated right now? And it's amazing when I did that. It just seemed like things flowed. My goodness, I was out of there in no time. And I'm not making that up. It was so interesting how that worked. In this particular Department of Motor Vehicles, I asked one of the employees, I said to him, his name is Ted. I said, first of all, I asked him what his name was. He said, Ted. I said, Ted, you guys see a lot of people in here. He said, oh, yeah. He said, well, on the average, we see about 1,000 people a day, and there's 20 of them. So each of them sees 50 people a day. So that's quite a lot. 1,000 people a day. And this isn't a worst case. It isn't for me. It's just looking at experience and what happens when we take a moment to bring the gifts of loving kindness and meditation practice into our everyday life. And amazing, some of the outcomes can be really good. And then after that, we'll close it up with um, an adaptation of the Beauty Way prayer from a Native American church. So that's what we're going to do tonight. And if you have specific needs, if there's a specific conversation that you would be most benefited by, and only you could know that. If you feel comfortable bringing it to light, I promise not to beat you up with it. I promise to give you respect that you deserve and to take a moment to listen. In this kind of listening, we listen from our heart, from the center of our being. So, and I'm just taking a moment to wave back to handmade_knives76. I think I've seen you on this site before. If not, it's wonderful to see you tonight. So let's go ahead and begin. So recently I bought a new car. And of course, today, these new cars, they've got so many things. They've got sensors to try to help you and me, all of us, from harming ourselves, from getting into an auto accident, which could be not so much fun. And it's interesting when we look at how our cars have been built with devices that are so sensitive. They can recognize if you're beginning to cross over a lane or if someone's intruding in your lane, if they're getting too close, this way or that. So many different things, sensors. Earlier in my life, I studied electronics, and it was interesting, switching circuits, different things, and transducers, what they do. So these sensors, they, a lot of what we experience is based on vibration. And so what's being vibrated? Well, the molecules and atoms of the air vibrate. The moisture in the air vibrates. Our bodies are mostly water. there's this vibration. And in terms of how we learn to survive as a species, events that took place earlier in our lives created a certain pattern. That pattern is like a program, a survival program. And survival programs are really helpful. They're important. It's important that you survived. It's important that I survived. And at the same time, if we choose this lifetime as a growth lifetime, then we want more than just surviving. The happiness that you want or I want involves more than just surviving. And depending on what this lifetime's about for you, whether it involves Tai Chi or it involves a variety of different yogic practices or healing modalities, whatever it might be for you. It might be Reiki, whatever it is. So here we're talking about sensors and sensitivities. So meditation and mindfulness practice help us to become aware of what our sensitivities are and also how we react to our sensitivities when they are activated, stimulated, a vibration, they get vibrated. And certain vibrations are unpleasant and uncomfortable. Certain other vibrations are very pleasant and maybe make us feel more comfortable. Notice how some of these vibrations keep us in a pattern that perhaps prevent us from the growth that we want. Whether we want to stop hurting so much, or maybe we have lofty goals. Maybe we want to write a book, or maybe we want to climb a mountain, whatever that is. Sensors and sensitivities. So, how do we keep following up on our follow up? How do we play with life in order to achieve our goals? And so, meditation and mindfulness practice help us to become aware of our mindset, of our patterns, and over time help us to be really honest with ourselves about where we may be trapping ourselves in some form of limitation. So that's the opening talk for tonight. Let's go ahead and do our opening meditation, taking the ideas of sensors and sensitivities in. And part of this meditation is really focused on having space for the human experience. And also parts of the human experience that you wish that you didn't have, and maybe you still do have, whether you wished you didn't or not. And so somewhere in the wished you didn't and all of that is this truth telling. What helps you to achieve freedom from those limitations? So meditation, getting back to that in a minute, we're going to do this spaciousness meditation, finding space for the human experience. So let's go ahead and do this, enough talk about it, and very gently repositioning your body on the surface that your body's resting. And even, hunkering back in a chair, or if you like a more balanced form of sitting, maybe it's on a meditation cushion, perhaps it's where your body is more erect, and maybe, so if you feel like at the top of your head, almost like you had a string on the top of your head, pulling the top of your head. And notice the strain, and then soften into the strain. And slowly and gently allowing your eyelids to drift downward until they do close. And taking a slow and gentle deep breath in and gently releasing this breath and allowing your breath to find its own natural rhythm once again, free of control. And if you find that you're breathing in a very shallow breath, see if you can allow your breath to come deeper into your body by experiencing the way that your shoulders, chest, and belly wall expand on your inhalations and release on the exhalations without hyperventilating. Just natural rhythmic movement of your breath and awareness of the way that your body movement accommodates your breath and breathing by the expansion of your shoulders, chest, and belly wall on your inhalations, and the release of your belly wall, chest, and shoulders on your exhalation. And also becoming aware of the way that as you breathe and watch as your breath, the movement of your breath, movement of your body with your breath, accommodates your breath and breathing. Also noticing how broad your awareness is and being able to recognizing the warmth and the coolness of your breath, and also noticing the moist and the dryness of your breath. And the expansion of consciousness that you feel as you recognize how broad your sensitivities involve your awareness, not only of the way your body movement accommodates your breath and breathing, and the warmth and coolness of your breath, and the moist and dryness of your breath, and the depth and the shallowness of your breath. All of those different attributes of your breath and breathing. And also noticing the space that your thoughts and emotions arise within. If it's hard to find the space that your thoughts and emotions arise within, very gently thinking the thought of your name, whatever your name may be. Or maybe you use the word love and notice what happens as you think the thought love. And softening around that vibration and watch as that thought comes and goes or comes and stays. Watching the space that the thought love arises within. allowing that thought to float throughout your being, and the spaciousness for the human experience. And as you experience the way that your body movement accommodates your breath and breathing, the beating of your heart, your pulse, the space that your thoughts and emotions arise within, and noticing the way some thoughts come and go or come and stay, and noticing what happens as you grip a thought. Just gently grip a thought. And then what happens if you release the thought? And the joy of this experience, and even using the word, the thought love, as it floats through the space of your mind, and beginning to notice within this space that your thoughts and emotions arise within this gentle calm, this calm sense, this sensitivity to calm and the experience of calm that's within this space. And softening into this feeling of calm while being aware of the way that your body movement accommodates your breath and breathing, the beating of your heart and your pulse, the space that your thoughts and emotions arise within, and this precious calm that's right here, that's always right here. And taking just another moment to unhook and float and drift within this calm that's right here. And this calm that contains the human experience. And taking another slow and gentle deep breath in, and gently releasing this breath and allowing your breath to find its own natural rhythm once again, free of control. And noticing how your calm is still right here with you. And slowly beginning to move your fingers and your toes, and gently stretching your hands and your feet, slowly moving your wrists and your ankles, gently shrugging your shoulders and stretching your back and your neck, your arms and your legs. And when you're ready, slowly let your eyes come back open and notice if the room and space around you seem a little different than before. And if you feel a little different than you did, if there is a difference and you're enjoying this difference or curious about it, please soften into it. Soften into your calm. Just give yourself just a little taste of this calm. And if you have any questions or concerns about anything that's being spoken about tonight or any of the experiences that are part of this evening, please let me know. And I invite each of you to visit my website, which is artofconnectionnow.com. That's artofconnectionnow as one word.com. And I would really value the opportunity to talk with you about all of this. Just taking a moment to, not to drop my glasses, but to wave back to Healing to Whole. Great to see you tonight. And thank you for letting me know that the volume is good. Waving back to Dozy Dreamer. Great to see you here. And Emmanuel Sar 028. You know, sometimes with names I haven't seen before, I get a little tongue-tied. So I apologize for my challenge in pronouncing your Instagram address or whatever you call these things. Emmanuel Star 028, waving back to you. So thank you all for being here. Let's go a little deeper with tonight. So let's talk a little bit about stress and focusing energy. So especially for those of you that are on a path of growth, I chose this path of growth myself a lot of years ago, my goodness, a lot of years. And that doesn't mean anything. It's just time, right? It's not a better than or a less than. It's just what you find valuable and you want more of. And, you know, sometimes we go through what's called rapid growth, and that there's a cycle to that that also involves confusion and how we work through that. And it's predictable that you'd have that experience. So it isn't that you're doing anything wrong. It's just that when you choose a path of growth, there are certain familiar aspects to it that you become familiar with over time. With stress and focusing energy, first we use our sensors and sensitivities in order to identify what's going on. What is this? How come my shoulders are up like this? How come I'm breathing about this deep? How come my tummy is hard? How come I'm getting irritated at this person? What did they do? And why is it I think they did something to me? What's going on? So what we do is we start to listen to our internal dialogue. Well, how are we treating ourselves? And when we're ranting at someone else, the person that gets harmed the most is you. And don't you want more happiness and less harsh treatment for merely being human, for having this human experience? You're not doing anything wrong by having a human experience. And yet at the same time, we might want or really desire something. And what we desire may seem out of reach. And then maybe we beat ourselves up because we thought it was going to be easy. And it wasn't easy. Maybe it takes a lot more than we thought. So taking a look at stress, how we grip our thoughts, how we grip our emotions, the way, the tone and manner that we speak to ourselves, how we treat ourselves. Are we kind to ourselves? do we understand the challenges of simply being human and having these human experiences. It's an awful lot, don't you think? And yet, at the same time, if we can find good humor with it, then it isn't so bad. And we recognize that life can be much more complicated than we thought. And at other times, it can be a lot more simple than we thought. And these practices of meditation and contemplation can actually make life more joyful, make you more happy, because it gives you a way of holding it. It isn't about a specific faith tradition or a specific practice. Little by little, you're going to find, if you choose, you'll find what makes you feel good and what you're able to maintain, and also what helps you to grow. At the core of it, though, is to be honest with yourself. If it's difficult, sometimes things are difficult. It's not your fault, it's just difficult. And certain practices can help us to find more mobility within the difficulties. So, in a moment, what we're going to do is we're going to practice one of the ancient forms of mindfulness practice. I call it a body centered mindfulness practice because stress isn't just in our mind. We hold stress in our body, and sometimes it causes illness. And I wouldn't want that for you. And I hope that you don't want it for you. And yet, there are practices that can help you with stress so that you can become more free. This is one of them we're going to do in a minute. It's an ancient practice, it goes way back, and it's to make life easier. And then after that, we'll do a relatively short version of a heart centering meditation. This heart centering meditation was inspired by an ancient heart centering meditation that is part of a Sufi lineage called the Naqshbandi. And the Naqshbandi are, found in different faith traditions. At the core of this meditation is your heart and love and your experience of love. So let's go ahead and do this. So please, once again, reposition your body on the surface your body's resting, and very gently allowing your eyelids to drift downward until they do close. And scanning, feeling from the tips of your toes to the top of your head, looking for those locations and content where your stress, tension, pain, and discomforts reside, whether they're physical, mental, emotional, and or spiritual, or any combinations thereof, no matter how large or how small, whether they're caused by worries and concerns or good things. They're come together to help you to achieve your goals. Notice where these reside within your being, letting your love work for you. And sometimes we do grab thoughts, we do grab emotions, and this is to help you to bring them into focus in a good way. So, giving these locations and content of your stress and all of that a warm, tender, nurturing, caring, loving, inclusive, and connecting embrace. And tightening your embrace just a little bit more in order to give these locations and content a very open hearted, full hearted, warm, tender, nurturing, loving, caring, inclusive, and connecting embrace. and softening and releasing, gently bringing the very center of the focus of your attention to this feeling of release, and allowing this feeling of release to flow throughout your entire being, and allowing all of your senses to register this experience of release. And softening into this experience of release. Scanning once again from the tips of your toes to the top of your head, looking for the locations and content where your stress, tension, pain, and discomforts reside, whether they're physical, mental, emotional, and or spiritual, or any combinations thereof, no matter how large or how small. And this time, giving these locations and content the gentlest embrace that's possible for you, giving them a warm, tender, nurturing, caring, loving, inclusive, and connecting embrace. Just barely embracing these locations and content, and softening your embrace and releasing. Gently bringing the very center of the focus of your attention to this feeling of release, and allowing this feeling of release to flow throughout your entire being, and allowing all of your senses to register this experience of release, and softening into this experience of release. And scanning one more time from the tips of your toes to the top of your head, looking for those locations and content where your stress, tension, pain, and discomforts reside, whether they're physical, mental, emotional, and or spiritual, or any combinations thereof, no matter how large or how small. And this time, just the tiniest little touch, whisper soft, barely touching the fringes of these locations with a warm, tender, nurturing, caring, loving, inclusive, and connecting contact, barely touching the fringes of these places, and softening and releasing, gently bringing the very center of the focus of your attention to this feeling of release, and allowing this feeling of release to flow through, to permeate your entire being. and allowing all of your senses to register this experience of release. And very gently bringing the very center of the focus of your attention to the dull ache in your heart, or even the loving heart, the doorway into your heart that many times is experienced as a dull ache. And you might experience it as a warm sense of love coming all the way through the doorway of your heart into your heart, and allowing all of your senses to register the experience of being on the inside of your heart. And noticing the place within your heart that your love always arises from. Whether your love is for a person, a place, a thing, a two-legged, a four-legged, a no-legged, whether your love is for someone on this plane of existence or any other, your love always arises from this place. And allowing your love to flow through you and around you, and allowing all of your senses to register this pure love that lives within you. And softening into your pure love and allowing it to saturate your being. And perhaps becoming aware of the essences of your love that live within your love, like kindness and caring, and perhaps even compassion for the human experience. And also this amazing vibration that lives within your love, with this desire and appetite to connect. And you know what it's like to want to connect, and perhaps at times when you were able to. And also the times that it wasn't possible to connect, and how that felt. And allowing this vibration of connection, your vibration of connection, to flow through your being, and allowing all of your senses to register this pure connection that lives within you. And softening into your pure connection, and allow it to touch every fiber of your being. Taking just another moment to unhook and float and drift within this amazing experience of pure connection. And taking another slow and gentle deep breath in, and gently releasing this breath and allowing your breath to find its own natural rhythm once again, free of control. Slowly moving your fingers, your toes, gently stretching your hands and your feet, slowly moving your wrists and your ankles, and gently shrugging your shoulders and stretching your back and your neck, your arms, legs. And when you're ready, slowly let your eyes come back open and notice if the room and space around you seems a little different than before, and if you feel different than you did. If there is a difference and you're curious about this difference, please soften into it and recognize that this is a gift that you've given to yourself. And waving back to Walid Glade, thank you for being here tonight. Okay, moving right along. Let's talk a little bit about processing emotions, and then we'll do so. You might have the experience that you wish that you didn't feel a certain way. And maybe you blame other people for making you feel this way. And you wonder why they would talk with you like that. And it's all you. Or maybe you're around other people who do the opposite of that. Why do you treat me that way? How come you talk with me like that? And again, it's kind of the shame blame game, which also establishes a certain distance because it's hard to get close to someone if they're pushing you away. And you might feel pushed away. And at times, maybe you push other people away. On this particular practice, we just take a moment, pause button, hit the pause button, just for now. You can always go back to however you want to do this. Let's just switch it up a little bit. So this practice starts out with using the most unpleasant emotion of your day, whatever that was for you. For me, maybe it was waiting in a long line at the DMV in order to get my driver's license renewed today. Whatever it was for you, pick one. Maybe it was a lot worse than maybe it wasn't so bad today. But pick one from the past few days that was not so good, the worst one. We always start with the worst one when it comes to this, so that way we know we're not making it up. And whatever happens, if it gets better, we can say, oh, yeah, something happened that really helped. And it isn't about me, it's not about stroking my ego, it's about helping you. That's what this is all about. It's an opportunity to be of service to your highest good. So when you establish whatever the worst one is, let's hold on to that. And once again, repositioning your body on the surface that your body's resting, and very gently allowing your eyelids to drift downward until they do close. And you know when you're upset, you're breathing that upset in and you're breathing it out. So now we're going to switch it up a little bit. Whatever your most unpleasant emotion was or is from today or the past few days, the most unpleasant. On the next in breath, breathing this, your unpleasant emotion, into every pore and cell of your being as a gift of loving kindness and compassion for your human experience. Breathing out love, kindness, compassion, caring, and connection through every cell and pore of your being as a gift of loving kindness and compassion for your human experience. Breathing in your most unpleasant emotion into every pore and cell of your being as a gift of generosity and spaciousness for your human experience. Breathing out love, kindness, compassion, caring, and connection through every cell and pore of your being as a gift of generosity and spaciousness for your human experience. Breathing in your most unpleasant emotion into every pore and cell of your being as a gift of generosity and spaciousness for your human experience. Breathing out love, kindness, compassion, caring, and connection through every cell and pore of your being as a gift of generosity and spaciousness for your human experience. Continuing to breathe, leaving your eyelids closed, and considering if we had some magical device capable of measuring all of the qualities and distinctions of human emotion, of everyone on this plane of existence in this moment, how many people in their measurement of their most unpleasant emotion would register so close to yours, even though their circumstances might be very different? How many of them would measure so close to your measurement as to be indistinguishable? 5 other people, 10 other people, perhaps hundreds or thousands, or maybe millions of people feeling just like you and just like me, even though their circumstances may be very different, but their human experience is so close to yours as to be indistinguishable. And on the next in-breath, breathing in your most unpleasant emotion into every pore and cell of your being as a gift of generosity and spaciousness for your and their human experience. Breathing out love, kindness, compassion, caring, and connection through every cell and pore of your being as a gift of generosity and spaciousness for your and their human experience. Breathing in your most unpleasant emotion into every pore and cell of your being as a gift of generosity and spaciousness for this shared human experience. Breathing out love, kindness, compassion, caring, and connection through every cell and pore of your being as a gift of generosity and spaciousness for this human experience. Breathing in your most unpleasant emotion into every pore and cell of your being as a gift of generosity and spaciousness for this shared human experience. Breathing out love, kindness, compassion, caring, and connection through every cell and pore of your being as a gift of generosity and spaciousness for this shared human experience. Continuing to breathe, leaving your eyelids closed, and evaluating. Do you feel any more compassion for yourself and your human experience? Do you feel any more compassion for others and their human experience? When you're ready, slowly let your eyes come back open and notice if the room and space around you seems a little different than before, and if you feel a little different than you did. If there is a difference and you're enjoying this difference or curious about it, please soften into it and recognize that this is a gift that you've given to yourself. Well, we're about to close our meeting, and let's just take a moment to look at what we did tonight. We started off with a talk about sensors and sensitivities. Afterward, we did our spaciousness meditation, and after that, we talked about stress and focusing energy. Following that, we did some stress release and the heart centering meditation. And after that, we talked about processing emotions, how we grip them, sometimes all of that. And then we did this, just finished processing your most unpleasant emotion from the day or past few days. So that's what we did today. And I'm very grateful to each of you for being here. And I just want to say who all was here tonight. Steffi Black 99, thank you for being here. Handmade 976, thank you for being here. Healing to Whole, great to see you. Dozy Dreamer, thank you for being here. Emmanuel Lasara 028, thank you for being here. And Wallet Clay Oak, thank you for being here. It's been a wonderful evening. I hope it has for you, and I hope it brought you to good places. Until we meet again, just as a reminder, Monday through Friday are the magnificent morning meditations. They're only about 10 minutes long from about 8 a.m. till 8:15 Pacific Daylight Savings Time. And also tomorrow night is our Art of Connection community meeting that involves more contemplation and meditation. And you're welcome to be here, right here on Instagram Live, and also for some of you on Facebook Live and all of that. So now I'm going to close our evening with an adaptation of the Beauty Way prayer from the Native American Church. Now, in the Native American Church, all of the directions are considered sacred. And what's said is if you know what the directions are, you know where you stand, which has an interesting ripple effect in our psyche, knowing where you stand, not just physically, but where you stand in your life. Are you going forward? Are you going back? Where are you going? Because very few people can stay just where they are. Very difficult. And with this Beauty Way prayer, I'm asking you to consider a form of beauty. I like the Milky Way. You don't have to like the Milky Way. I like the Milky Way because it's so large and the size of it transcends our understanding. And its longevity is so incredible in terms of how huge that is, much more than one human birth, that again, it transcends our understanding. And at the same time, it doesn't diminish you or me because we're a part of that. So that's where we're going with this. Beauty that is in front of us, and beauty that is behind us, and beauty that is to the left of us, and beauty that is to the right of us, and beauty that is beneath us, and beauty that is above us, and beauty that is all around us. And it is extremely important to remember the beauty that is within us. Dear friends, there's a word spoken in the language that the Navajo people speak, and this word is Ojnahasle, which means walk in beauty. Dear friends, thank you for being here tonight. Ojnahasle, 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 walk in beauty. And please always remember that you bring your love and beauty wherever you go. Walk in beauty. Namaste, Gasho, many blessings, and walk in beauty.